Hey all, today we have a very, very, very tender full moon. Many of us were likely feeling it yesterday too. So I want to pick it apart just a little bit for everybody if I can. Anyone who has cardinal placements, Aries, Cancer, Libra, Capricorn, is going to be feeling this lunation big time. Lots and lots of emotion, lots and lots of yucky feelings inside of us. People that have Cancer placements, or any of the cardinal placements that I just mentioned in early to mid degrees of those signs. And any placements, guys, not just sun, moon, ascendant that we all talk about all the time in pop astrology, any placements. We're likely feeling, those who have it in early to mid degrees of those signs, we're probably feeling it mostly yesterday. But really, and then today, the full moon is at 23 degrees of Cancer. It's conjunct Mars. Because it's a full moon, it's opposing the sun at 23 degrees of Capricorn, which is loosely conjunct Pluto, and the whole thing is in a T-square to Chiron in Aries. So what does that mean? That means that we will be reckoning with our fear and our anger, how anger shows up for us, how fear shows up for us, how we assert ourselves or not, and it'll be covering up really deep old grief, sadness that's stuck inside of us from our childhood, from our ancestors, stuff that was unprocessed sadness, unprocessed pain. Pluto's involved, so there could be lots of shame thoughts connected to whatever the feelings are. And the intention, first of all, it's time to be really gentle with ourselves. If I could say nothing else, self-compassion. This is exact here in a couple of hours. We've been feeling it, all day yesterday. Really lots of emotion. How does anger show up for us? How do we use our Aries energy? We're meant to release this. All this emotion is coming up as a cleansing. It's a cleansing. If there's anger, if there's fear, watch the thoughts, separate from them. There is no air in this lunation. No air. Air is thought. There's none of that. So when the coping mechanism of thought comes in to talk to us about whatever the storyline is, about our fear, about our anger, whatever that happens to be, try to gently set that aside and go into your body, like I say, and feel the emotions that are coming up, understanding that we're all meant to let go of, release, be washed clean of really deep down wounding around our emotionality. It's the ending of a cycle of the way that we assert ourselves, of the way that we have anger show up in our experience in order to cover up deep sadness. Anger in order to move away from the fear that we're actually feeling. And at the end of the day, a lot of it is about control and attempts to be in control, and anger and fear when we're not in control. And so it's a really big surrendering to the emotions that sit underneath those things. But in order to get to them, you've got to really feel the anger first, or the fear, and feel it without the storyline, without the thoughts that are connected to it. And if you feel it enough, it will transform to that deep sadness that wants to come up and see the light of day, because I guarantee you, your life, all of our lives, are being controlled unconsciously by those feelings that are stuck deep down, the sadness, the grief. And we don't like to feel them. They feel mucky. We don't like to feel them. We try to think our way out of them. We try to busy ourselves, dissociate ourselves out of them. This is not the time for any of that. This is the time to feel it. Feel it. Feeling it will heal it. And it's all in preparation of what's to come in the spring. We're going to have a big, huge lunar eclipse, March 14th, which will be another big release that I'll talk about at that point. That's going to be in Virgo. Also will be rather ouchy, especially for those of us who are reaching to control rather than surrender and trust, which is most of the world, right? But really, on March 29th, we have our final of this, our final of this round for this 9-year period or cycle, our final solar eclipse in Aries. And when that solar eclipse comes, March 29th, it's a radical karmic new beginning in how we show up with our Mars energy, with our Aries energy. And is it intentional or is it reactionary? Are we using our Aries energy or our Mars assertion in service to courage and bravery that's intentional and creative? Or is it reactionary? And no shame if it is, because we've all got it. Or is it reactionary based on deep feelings, hurt, grief, trauma that's unprocessed, and we're unconscious of the fact that our Mars energy is typically often used in a reactionary way based on that stuff that we're holding in our unconscious. So it's a cleansing. It feels mucky. Surrender. Stay out of thought. Don't dissociate. Find your feeling. Find where it is in your body. Allow it to get bigger. Ask whatever you connect to as far as spirit, divinity, God, whatever you want to call it, higher self, deeper self. Lots of different ways to say it. Ask to be held. We all are going to need to connect to that deeper part of the self that is unmoved. And in order to do so, we have to go into the scary places inside of us. Mars retrograde in Cancer, conjunct this full moon. We need bravery to go into the deep, scary, emotive spaces inside of us that are old, that we inherited through our ancestry, through our genes, through the behavior patterns of our lineage. So it feels mucky, but you can do it. Find where it is in your body. Stay out of thought. Use it as a practice. If you do, then when we get to that solar eclipse at the end of March, you're going to have some gifts that will come. Some exciting things. Mars is also excitement. Aries is excitement. It's initiation. But you can't have it without excavating first. And today is a day of excavation. So that's what I got.